Good morning. In this video, we'll discuss how music relates to time. Everything we do as human beings revolves around time. Our daily routines are based on schedules to guide us through our activities at the correct times during the day. Our society coordinates all of our activities by scheduling them to occur in coordination with each other. Time is quite literally the progression of our existence. Music is the progress of sounds through time. In its longest form, we have albums, symphonies, and operas. As we break down a piece of music into smaller parts, we begin to get individual songs, sections, choruses, verses, phrases, measures, and finally, individual notes. Just as atoms are to our universe, notes are the building blocks of the musical universe. To find our way in a piece of music, we break down music into quantitative blocks called measures.
How exactly would one measure a sense of humor?
When we measure something, for example, a cup of flour, we measure how much flour is in a given space. In a similar way, a musical measure tells us how much music is in a given amount of time. Time in the world of musicians is centered around minutes. We take 1 minute as our basic unit of time and determine how many beats happen in that minute. Beats are the felt pulse of a song. When you nod your head to a song or tap your foot, you're feeling the beat. This is how music is so strongly linked to time. For every minute, there is a specific amount of beats, and music relies on this idea. This is called beats per minute, or BPM. 60 beats per minute is equal to 1 beat every second. 120 beats per minute is equal to 2 beats for every second. When you nod your head to Lady Gaga's song, Just Dance, you nod your head 120 times in a minute. This is an example of 120 beats per minute. Notes are also directly related to time. Every note can also be referred to in a quantitative state known as hertz.
Well, they worship their own god called Hertz.
Is a measurement of how fast a cycle repeats in 1 second. For example, daytime is cyclical, meaning that it cycles between day and night. 1 cycle is day and night. A new cycle starts over again when the day starts over. This cycle takes about 86,400 seconds. So that's 1 rotation of the Earth. In this case, to calculate hertz, we divide the number of rotations of the Earth, 1, by how many seconds it takes to complete 1 rotation. So 1 over 86,400 hertz is how we would measure 1 day-night cycle in hertz. In musical terms, hertz measures how air vibrates in respect to 1 second. When air vibrates back and forth at 440 times per second, we call that the note A. Another way of saying this is that A equals 440 hertz. Our brains have an interesting way of interpreting sound as well. We call 440 hertz the note A, but we also happen to call 220 hertz the note A, and even 880 hertz the note A. So our minds hear frequencies that are doubled as similar. They are completely different sounds, but our brains interpret them as similar, and for this reason, they're given the exact same note name. Musicians call this doubling of the frequency an octave. To create the note A, something needs to be vibrating at 440 hertz. Musicians use things such as their lips, a reed, a string, a speaker to achieve this. These things vibrate back and forth 440 times per second to create the note A. Each of these sources has an amplification device attached to it. This amplification device that is attached to the source is called the instrument. The purpose is to make the vibrations louder. In review, notes are how we express musical sound over a set of time. Music relates to time through BPM, or beats per minute, and through the notes that we play in a set of time. These notes are produced and labeled based on a specific number of vibrations in a second. This measurement is called hertz. Instruments create vibrations in the air that we interpret as sound. And lastly, instruments cause the wave to travel through the air, reaching our ears, and we get sound.